Good morning, everybody. I'm eating some yogurt. It snowed a little bit. There's some on the grass. Not a lot, but some. Just a little bit. I'm going to have a peach yogurt. Light fit yogurt and have some coffee. I did laundry last night, so laundry's clean. We demand a lot from our eyes every day. I just did all the laundry last night. I washed all my blankets and everything too last night. So nice clean stuff. It helps me make more of my own tears. With continued use, twice a day, every day. It's also what I prescribe to my patients who have this condition. I felt cooking something, so I just made yogurt out. And I watch the dog's blankets on the ground that they will sit where they lay down. Tired. Went to bed early last night, like 9. I think it was like 9 o'clock or 10. I don't remember. So I didn't watch really anything. Took a shower last night and then I was knocked out. Medicine, and then I went to bed. Might be just some cleaning. Might left things in the hallway, but I don't care. It's stuff I don't need. It's junk. Nothing I need.
You wash from the front, you wash from the back, and just water. This is very popular in lots of countries, even in South Asia, India. They use the lota. The lota video here on YouTube. I'll see if I can link it. This is
If I something to watch. I want to go to the store too and buy some like waffles and stuff if they have any, you know. I need to get like a waffle machine maybe, so I can make my own waffles. I have the stuff to make waffles, but I don't have a waffle machine. I don't have the money right now to go buy a waffle machine. One day I'll buy a waffle machine. I got the mixtures. I'll wait till I get money. We got some little bit of snow last night. Not a lot.
of the coronavirus outbreak. Italy's iconic cities closed. The country on a war footing. Tens of thousands infected.
I wonder if I'm getting the same amount of my food stamps for next month, or they're giving me a little extra for, you know, or what, you know. I'm not trying to be greedy, but I just want like to know, because I know food is going to be like a lot of the expensive stuff that probably left in the stores, you know. I'm not being greedy, everybody. I'm just, you know, wondering what they're going to be doing, or I'm going to get it, or I'm not. Is everything getting cut? You know what I mean? I'm not, you know. I'm happy with what food I bought, though, and when I bought it, you know. You know what I mean? You know, I'm just saying, you know, coffee. That was good yogurt. I don't want to hoard food and stuff, but
So given even foreign
I
correspondents are
don't
working
want
from
to
home,
make
I
sure I
asked
don't,
family and friends to share their experiences of life in lockdown.
E un goccio d'olio
I
e
just try to make sure I have
omaggio
enough,
e
enough,
olio
enough that I
vergine.
don't ever go back without. I've been with without in my life,
My cousin, her partner Ariel, and my 90-year-old Auntie Maria are at home in Milan.
I've
Part
had
of
nothing
Italy's
in my life,
dessert
so I know
capital.
how to live with nothing.
Buona giornata. Beh,
Emma's mother Maria normally lives on her own, 2.5 hours away
Get
on the
off my
Ligurian coast.
blankets. I just washed these blankets.
sta abbastanza bene, però sono molto preoccupata perché non avvenga nulla che
I just
possa
washed blankets last
danneggiare il suo
night too.
sistema immunitario,
So I got
perché
clean
è molto
blankets.
molto debole.
Dicono questo virus
I did laundry
attacca
last
le
night.
persone anziane più di tutti,
I'm tired.
specialmente
I'm
che
so
se
tired.
hanno qualche altro malattia o qualche
No, this is
comorbidità.
La
boring.
mamma proprio poco prima.
That's boring. I'm watching like a little bit of the news and a little bit of other stuff, you know what I mean? Just to see what's going on and limited in the news and limited, you know what I mean? Because I don't want to overdo the news. You know what I mean, everybody? See, I want to say one thing though. The next door don't know who really they're messing with. You know why? One thing I keep a secret, I'm keeping a secret. My father went to prison for shooting my mom, for almost killing my mom. That's why my mom moved from Long Island up here to be close to my dad at that time. Originally, I'm from Long Island, not from Messina. I'm not from Messina. I'm not from upstate New York. I'm from Glen Cove, New York, from Long Island. And my dad's out of jail. She lives with my dad. She took my dad back after he tried to kill her. So my dad is vicious. My dad would kill somebody. So they don't really know who they're messing with. Next door really don't know who they're messing with. I have a father that could kill somebody, and he wouldn't care go back to jail. So they really don't know who they're messing with. They don't know nothing really about me. I'm serious. That's how I got up this way, because I'll explain. I was born in Glen Cove, New York. Lived in Long Island. I moved to South Carolina with my first ex-husband because I met him online when I was like 18. After my grandfather died and stuff, we got a computer, and I met him on AOL and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. So I moved to South Carolina. We traveled back and forth, me and him, and he lived in Columbia, South Carolina, my first ex, so we traveled back and forth and blah, blah, blah. I was so happy because I wanted to get away from my father because he was so abusive. So he kind of used, like, I don't know, but that was a blessing for me to get away from my dad. And then we lived there for like a couple, like about maybe three, let's see, I was 18, 19, 20, I think 18, 19, 20, 24. I think I lived there in South Carolina, like 3 or 4 years we lived there. And then he got a job in Texas, so then we moved down to Texas, and so I lived in Texas for 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, about 6 years, and then I was married to him, and had my daughter, and things went downhill and blah blah blah. He got abusive to me, and got really bad. He starving me, and I was like 110, 6 pounds, like really, I was super skinny, starving really bad, and it was terrible. I had to leave. I couldn't help it. I had no. My mom, and like he wouldn't let me talk to my mom, and it was on the phone, and it was. My mom had bad surgery at the time. Well, my mom, like, I forgot when, it was like 2000, year 2000, when my dad shot my mom. So my dad, so my mom ended up, I told her, don't go back up, don't talk to my mom, talk to my dad, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. She didn't listen to me. So she ended up traveling back and forth up here to go see my dad. And then she decided, oh, I'm just going to pack a few things and move up here, leave everything else behind. So that's what she did. So she ended up moving all the way up here up here. So she lived in Briar Hill for a while, and she had a house there, and then she didn't pay taxes on it and something, so she lost that house. And then she lived in an apartment in Ogdensburg for a little while because she lost the house, so she had to have an apartment. And then she didn't like the apartment, so then she got a trailer in the trail park in Ogdensburg. She lived in the trailer for a while, for a couple, and then she lived there. And then my dad, she would go visit my dad. She would go visit my dad. And go visit my dad and go visit my dad. I was down still in Texas. I think at that time. Well, Briar Hill, no. She was living in Briar Hill. She was still going to visit my dad. He wasn't yet out of jail yet. And I was still in Texas, and my mom had then ended up having. She was visiting my dad, and then she ended up having a tested surgery, serious. So then I was getting sick from my ex-husband because he was abusing me and everything down. So I ended up having to leave my ex-husband. He bought me a plane ticket to visit my mom. So she got out of the hospital and everything, and then I wanted to visit my mom to make sure she was okay and everything after my dad was in jail still at that time, so I felt safe to come up here to visit her. She couldn't pick me up at the airport, so I ended up having to find some weird guy to pick me up. It was messed up. He kept me away from my mom, kind of kidnapped me a different way, because he's like, you're not going. So I ended up in some strange place. It was not a good situation. He didn't let me go to my mom, and it was dangerous, and I was, yeah, it was not a good situation. I could have ended up dead. Yeah, I met him online, and it was he's like, you're not going to your mother, you're going with me. I had no communication with anybody for about a year. So that was the dumbest thing I did, because I had no way to get to my mom, so I had to find a way to, that was my mistake. At least I didn't end up dead. His stupid move was letting me go to church. So when I went to church, I told them this stuff, and then they got me my own apartment at that time, and so I had an apartment. I lived in Adams for like a couple months, and then I ended up meeting my lovely ex-husband. That's what moved me up to. Then we lived in Raymondville. And that's how I met my ex. And then I ended up there with him, and so on and so on. And then I ended up in Messina. Yay! And then my mom still has my dad. She lives with my dad in Brazier. Yeah. So my crazy dad. That's why I don't try to mess with my crazy dad very much. That's why I try not to mess with my dad so much, because she lives with my dad. I don't try to associate too much with my dad because I don't get along with him. That's where a lot of my PTSD comes from. So my neighbors next door don't know what they're messing with. They really don't know me. They don't know me, those neighbors next door. They don't know what kind of family I have, and I'm not from Messina. I'm not born and raised in Messina. I'm not one of these Messina bitches. Sorry to say that, but I'm not one of these Messina people. I'm not really from here. But I grew up poor, very poor. But I've had a rich life too. My first ex-husband, we traveled around. We did traveling and blah blah blah, and he had money, but so I had a rich life. I had a nice house, fancy this, fancy that, blah blah blah. So I can adapt to all different situations. I got a lot of patience. I'm a, I'm a very patient person. I can adapt to different situations. I'm distress, anxiety when somebody does stuff to me, or my family, stuff, I don't need that. That's why I don't want those neighbors next door. They need to go or leave me alone, I don't bother them. Why they gotta bother me? I don't want them. Why they want to bother me? Leave me alone. Somebody needs to tell them to leave me alone. Why can't somebody do that for me? Tell the neighbors next door to leave me alone. Why? Why can't somebody help me and tell them to leave me alone?
Around him, including Dr. Fauci. His absence yesterday simply explained is that it wasn't his turn to be out there. They're doing a rotation system, but there are reports, including ours.
I'm going to try to lay down for a little bit and watch a little bit of this stupid news.
Criticism that Dr. Fauci has delivered in various interviews, so that's something to keep an eye on going forward.
Trump is eager to end social distancing as the virus spreads faster.
As you just mentioned, there are people within the administration who believe the health experts have gone too far with this in terms of what they've recommended in terms of shutting down the economy, and that it is delivering a mortal blow to the nation's economy and potentially the president's re-election chances. So there is a movement. It's nothing that's been committed to yet, but you heard the president yesterday at the briefing. It lines up with our reporting all day long and our story that moved yesterday afternoon, that he is considering this, that it would not be a nationwide lift. There certainly would be hot spots that would still remain with these restrictions: New York City, California, Washington. And a lot of this, of course, is going to be up to the individual state governors. Governor Cuomo is certainly not going to just listen to President Trump on whether or not New York should reopen for business, as the president said. But there is consideration here that when this 15 days runs out in about a week or so, that they may start to ease restrictions.
Oh boy. Yeah, and then people are going to get sick.
So has been watching and worrying about the state of the economy. Now, of course, we haven't even get close to the peak yet of this pandemic here in the United States. And I will be very tempted is the physicians yesterday, Dr.
I'll be hiding. I'm not, even if they lift that band off, I'm hiding. I'm not going out. No, I'm hiding. I'm hiding. He lifts the band, I'm hiding. I don't trust it.
To this point, though, as our story highlights, the president was hunkered down in the White House, who's frustrated, he can't travel, he can't go to rallies, he's turned those briefings into his rally, it's his outlet with the press.
I'm hiding.
Unsure what to do, he's been on the phone late at night,
you know what I mean?
Advisors are desperately dialing around for good news.
I'm hiding.
White House meetings that he's not supposed to attend, forcing aides to redo their agendas, and forcing aides to perhaps shoot.
I'm hiding. I don't care.
At the beginning of this administration,
you know what I mean? I'm not.
Any sort of subordinate, something that doesn't line up with
Watch, he listens to the band, and then people get sick.
Pandemic, such a dangerous moment. So it is possible he is not getting, Joe, the most accurate information he needs, and therefore he's forging forward with his gut, which could mean this reopening in just a week or so.
Yeah, he talked about it repeatedly yesterday at what was one of the worst updates, if that's possible. They've hit so many lows. The numbers don't match, Joe, with what the president is saying. The numbers are still spiking. They're not going down. There is absolutely no reason the president should be talking about reopening the country right now if you look at it from any logical point of view. Another person missing from that update yesterday was the Surgeon General, but his words were quite something compared to the president yesterday. This is going to be really bad.
Yeah, it's getting bad.
Acting like they have the virus. That was his advice. But yet these people somehow don't make it to the stage anymore. Or if they do, potentially, if you look at Jonathan reporting.
You have a good day. Thank you for subscribing, liking, commenting. I just wish somebody would tell those neighbors to leave me alone, you know. If they can't do nothing, at least tell them to leave me alone. Or any of their friends that are watching, tell them to leave me the F alone. Because if there is anybody that knows them, just tell them to leave me alone. Bye.